What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. Wow. Bob, senile Arum, has clapped out at Anthony, the landlord, Joshua. Team Theory are big mad. They all the way mad. They're going through it, no doubt. I did a video a few days ago reporting on the fact that AJ had shut down the sales. Sold out. Not even a bit of tickets left. No tickets left. Gone. I had goofies in my comment section telling me, oh, YB, you know. Yeah, but it's, what's that thing? What do they say? What's their excuse now for the shut down ticket sales? Oh, but YB, it's that company. Oh, I forgot the name of the company, but they say, oh, it's that company. What do we know? Fish Eyes and Bob Arum, they was using the same company. Oops. Innit? People forget that. It's a bit like Eddie Hearn was the first one to do the YouTube thing. Fish Eyes went mad. Now Fish Eyes doing it himself. Same with this ticket thing. Eddie Hearn was the first to do the ticket thing. And then Fish Eyes did it with his own event, with Fury and Wilder. Oops. So what is it? Oh, YB, you know, the tickets don't count because of the company they're using. Well, Fury and Wilder was using the same company. Oops. So like I said, I did a video a few days reporting on the fact that AJ had shut down the ticket sales versus USYK. And that video sent Team Fury into a spiral of rage. They big mad. They big mad. But because what do we know? They've had to go through all this controversy, cancelling their fight, rescheduling it for 3 months. One of the main reasons they rescheduled for 3 months was that they're begging. The longer the better, because listen, they need time. Why? To sell tickets. That's one thing AJ doesn't need. It's no time. He don't need no time. Because it's shut down in 24 hours. In less than 24 hours. Wilder and Fury, ideally, they was looking to reschedule for 19 months. Because they need all the time they can get to sell as many tickets as possible. I'm hearing they was thinking of putting it on near Christmas so people could get it for their Christmas holidays kind of thing. As their Christmas present. You know what I'm saying? That's the limits Team Fury have been pushed to. They've been pushed to having to make up fake news diseases. Oh well, C19, all that business. Just try and sell some tickets. Wow, they down bad. So like I said, Team Fury saw the YB's video. They big mad, and now they've clapped out with some disparaging comments to AJ. In their head filled of rage, they've made some comments on AJ, which is the video we're going to cover today. Bob Arum says, despite the economic interest in AJ versus Fury, he's rooting for USYK to beat AJ. And he goes on to say the following: I'm not thrilled with AJ. I don't think much of AJ because every time the name AJ is mentioned, I see him laying on the canvas after getting hit by a non-puncher like Andy Ruiz. I'm telling you the truth. I may be underestimating AJ, but I'm not convinced that AJ is an elite heavyweight. Bang. There you go then. So, the bottom line is, let me just do a quick conclusion here. Essentially, Bob Arum found out after going through. Listen, Team Fury have been going through it for this last month, 100%. Super sloppy, pulling the fight, getting caught lying, the full nine they've gone through. In fact, Taylor, I missed the key element here, getting whooped in. You know what? Let's do it properly. Team Scary have been going through it. Where did this whole saga go through? Where did this stress originate from? FA Jagba, Taylor, no, really, Tyson Scary, and his number one trainer, Sugar Smith, called in the Young Bucks for sparring. That's where it started. Bottom line, they called in FA Jagba. FA Jagba gave them the beats. Yeah, gave them the beats, and they were forced to reschedule the fight. And to add insult to injury, they ain't sold no tickets. So they was getting worked all over. No tickets sold. Got the beats. You know what? Let's pull the fight. It's not working out. Because what we know about fight promotions is they can deal with one of two things. They can't deal with two of two things. Does that make sense? There's no way they're going to have bad ticket sales and have Fury smoked in sparring. No way. Obviously, if the show had sold out, there would have been much more pressure to say, come on, Fury. You know, we've kind of... The event's throbbing. The fans are rock hard to watch this. We can't... You know what I'm saying? But guess what? They ain't sold no tickets. There was no pressure from the fans. Fans don't want to see it. But you know what the fans do want to see? Because AJ shut it down in a few hours. Huh. Yeah? So like I said, licensed Scary invited FA Jagger in for sparring. He got worked. Didn't sell no tickets and they pulled out. Then they threw in the C19 excuse. That got exposed. Again by the YB. And now the last straw for Bob Arum and Team Fury was, of course, because they was just, let's not forget this, Team Fury were just starting to recover. Number 1 from being whooped in sparring. Number 2 from being exposed for C19. Number 3 for being exposed for having peak ticket sales. And the worst thing is, yeah, no joke, people were saying, or Team Fury were saying things like, oh, you know, it's not, yeah, but you see the tickets, it's hard to sell tickets these days because, you know, there's uncertainty around the C19 and, you know, fans can't travel and, you know, summer holidays, and that's what they were saying. So you can just imagine, yeah, Team Fury can't sell no tickets for their event, giving all the excuses as to why the global market's struggling. Oh, well, you know, it's uncertainty and, oops, Team Fury just spent 3 weeks telling everyone why not being able to sell no tickets is more of an economic issue, not to do with their personal event. Oops. And next thing you know, AJ, I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I didn't see a bunch of press either. We've heard from Team Fury. Oh well, we wasn't really promoting it, and how many times did you man see AJ promoting it? I wouldn't even, if I wasn't a hardcore boxing fan, yeah, I wouldn't even know the event was on, truth be known. Especially, do you know what makes it worse is? The fact that AJ announced in the middle of Olympics as well. Of all the sport people are following, I'll tell you what they ain't following. AJ wasn't even promoting it. Wow! In the middle of Olympics, AJ's tickets go on sale and it shut down. Bob Arum couldn't believe himself. I'm hearing he had to be wheeled into the hospital because his heart, he was having the most heart palpitations. His heart was pumping. So, listen, Bob. Let's not try and make out that every time, like this, my guy Bob says in the quote here that, oh, every time I think of AJ. No, you didn't just think of AJ. Stop capping. Call a spade a spade. What you need to say is, listen. Every time I hear about AJ doing something, whether it's beating top competitors or whether it's shutting down his ticket sales, it gets me big mad. And as a result, I hope for his downfall, which is why I'm now supporting USYK, despite the economic interest I have in the AJ and Fury fight. In fact, that moves me on perfectly to my next point, because truth be known, on a more macro sense, on a more full sense, this ticket sales thing, yeah, that's riled Bob up. Yeah, that's encouraged this recent kind of comments for him to explode. Yeah, that's the final. That's the straw that broke the camel's back, no doubt. But, like I said, more Holly, what's really going on here is Bob is praying for USYK to beat AJ. Because, guess what? He don't want no parts of AJ and Fury. Yeah? These news people like to be smart and, oh, well, look, despite the economic interest, the way they pitch it is that, oh, no, Bob Arum really loves USYK because USYK is training with Lomachenko's trainer. Don't be so stupid. What planet you think because USYK trains with Lomachenko's trainer, Bob Arum wants to throw $50 million away? Get serious now. Bob Arum has no intentions on making the $50 million commission or whatever it is. He don't want the fight. Well, tell a lie. I think Bob probably actually does. But no, in fact, that's not true. He don't want it. Because guess what? Much like, I wouldn't even mind, because in my mind I thought, well, maybe Bob would want it, because from his point of view, it's just money, isn't it? But what do we know? Bob Arum was following the same script that Tyson Scary was following, that Fish Eyes Warren was following, that John Scary was following, which tells me that they're all on board. Bob Arum could have been saying, you know what? F Lyson, I want this big money fight to get paid. But I think Bob Arum knows in this boxing game, longevity is valuable. Tyson Scary being allegedly undefeated is a lot more profitable to him than he is getting a good whooping and being fully exposed. And especially when, what do we know? Especially when they can do 7 fights with Deontay Wilder and fight bums in between. That's their plan. Fury's told you what the plan is. Let's not forget that. Fight Wilder 7 times. There's 7 pay-per-view. There's 7 pay-per-view events. Now people have been saying, YB, there's no way they can sell 7. People are bored after 3 or 2. Which is, you're right. But what's going to happen is Fury loses the next one, and that then rejuvenates it all. That makes it fresh again. Oh no, look, we're back to squares. Yeah? We're back to squares. And back to squares essentially opens up another 3 fights, doesn't it? Because if Wilder wins the next one in devastating fashion, we're then 2-2. It's straight flats again. Straight equal. Or we're now 1-1 rather. Perfect. Sets up a whole another trilogy. 6 fights. Boom. Sorted. And you best believe them next 3 fights, there'll be another draw in there, and there'll be another win and another loss. And then what I'll do is I'll say, oh, you know what, we can't do another trilogy, so we'll just do a single one on the end. Yeah? Winner takes all. That's what I'm planning on doing. There'll be a first trilogy, which is this one coming up in October. There'll be a second trilogy, and then they'll say, you know what, we can't do 9 fights, but we'll call it winner takes all on the next one. 100%. That makes 7. 2 trilogies and a single. Winner takes all. Oops. I've seen the script. 100%. Fury said it himself. And the worst thing is, he weren't joking. He said, 7 times, And like I said, he weren't joking. He was genuinely putting it to the interviewer like it's a proper proposition. Like he's already read the script from MTK. And I've seen the same script, so that's why I know. That's why I'm telling you, man, what they're planning on doing. But anyway, back to this, because I haven't finished up cooking Bob yet. Because Bob, you big mad. You ain't sold no tickets, and your man's scary. You praying for USYK to win, so that whole AJ is funny, yeah, because that's another thing quickly. In this article, Bob Arum says, yeah, I hope USYK beats AJ, and then he goes on to say, Fury's got loads of options. Oh yeah, well no, if AJ gets beat by USYK, we've got loads of potential options. Options? What do you mean options? What don't you want to fight AJ for, innit? Okay, let's say USYK did beat him. What's wrong with fighting AJ? And this is what I'm trying to tell you, man. Why is it Bob Arum is telling people he's got options for when AJ gets beat? He's got options for when USYK beats AJ, but then I've never heard of him talk about the AJ fight like this. Have you? Have you ever heard of them saying, when AJ wins, we're going to set this up, set that up? No, but they're telling me about it. Bob's happy to tell us about all the options they've got if USYK wins. No? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing how Bob's got all these plans for the eventuality that AJ doesn't win, but he ain't got no, but he ain't fixing to make no plans for the eventuality if AJ wins, if that makes sense, isn't it? What's going on here then? But again, it shows you their mentality. They can't physically link Fury and AJ together, never. And we know this anyway, because Eddie Hearn said when the negotiations first fell through, Eddie said, yo, let's get it locked in for the next fight. We can put in the contract, obviously, assuming both men win. Oh, no, we can't think about anything but this next up-and-coming fight. But Bob Arum seemed to be able to think about when USYK wins, though, innit? Happy to think about that and whatever else. But this fight you said you're certain of wanting, which is the AJ fight, you can't put pen to paper. And by the way, it's not like it's a quick rush thing. The way Team Fury denied being able to put or lock themselves into the fight after the Wilder fight, you forget that they've been already negotiating for 6 months. And allegedly, Fury says they had a signed contract. So what's in it? Fury made a video celebrating, saying he just signed the AJ contract. So if you're saying the contract was all locked in and you was really planning on fighting, why not just in it? No good coming out telling us, oh well, we can't because I need to focus. Focus on what? You've already signed the contract. Oops. Which proves he never had no intention of going through with the fight. Which proves he knew the judge Don was going to pop up and come up with something and say that the Wilder fight must happen. And in my opinion, probably proves there is no judge. It's all made up, I reckon. Is it a coincidence that the judge suddenly pops up 2 days after they finally get it signed? After it took months to get signed? I don't think so. I think Fury knew, you know what, we can't let this fester. Because if we do allow Saudis or whatever to really start building the stadium, and then we're going to potentially be financially on the hook. So we've got to pull the rug quickly, which is what they did, didn't they? Within 2 days of screaming about the AJ fight, Fury pulled the rug conveniently. Oops. I'm telling you, it's all hella fruity. Super fruity. But anyway, listen. The last thing I want to touch on is some of these comments here about you're not thrilled about AJ and... Well, in fact, let me read it again. I don't think much of AJ because every time his name is mentioned, I see him laying on the canvas after getting hit by a non-puncher like Ruiz. I'm telling you the truth. I may be underestimating Joshua, but I'm not convinced that Joshua is an elite heavyweight. Now I'm gonna make this pretty short, but bottom line for me is, yeah. Well, Bob, listen. For all your questions of AJ, which is fair enough, I'm gonna let you have that because you're old. But whatever. What I put to you is, do you have them same thoughts of your own man's Tyson Scary? Because trust me, I'm not going to make out AJ hasn't been down bad against Ruiz, but trust me, on a scale of 1 to 10 down badness, your man Fury has been down super more bad than AJ has. Factually, neurologically speaking, when you look at, if you were to do a brain scan of Tyson Fury versus Wilder 1, and a brain scan versus AJ versus Ruiz 1, I'm telling you now, yeah, Tyson Scary had absolutely there was zero brain activity for a few seconds. He was flatlining. And you can just watch his wife. His wife knew it as well. Wives and husbands, they have a special bond. And they can feel when their other half's just flatlining. And trust me, she could feel it. What we do know is, I ain't never seen AJ flatline. That's a fact. I've never seen AJ with his eyes in the back of his head. So, yeah, whatever pictures you have of AJ, you best make sure you got them same ones of your man Scary. No doubt.